Welcome to what's probably going to be the last Splitfire gaming podcast episode of the year. Scott's back to have a look at the year that was, not the world that was. Hello. You've not been on in a bit. Where have you been?
I don't know. I've not been on for so long, actually, to be fair.
I got my personal attaché, Charlie, to come on in your place.
I know. Sorry. I mean, I'll blame life, but I've got absolutely no idea, truth be told.
Well, I had literally 2 letters asking where you were. So
That's more than I've ever had before.
It's fan mail.
Honestly, I'll take it. I'll take anything. I am not a picky man.
One's in Andy's handwriting, but never mind. We'll move on. So this was just a kind of... We did a what the year might be like at the start of the year, and now it's at the end of the year. And instead of comparing whether we got things right or not, we'll just assume we did and just talk about what happened in the last 12 months.
I remember vividly that what happened is exactly what we foresaw.
It did. Don't go back and look at the episode. Just assume that we were exactly right about everything.
Yeah.
And
have we ever let you down before? Don't
open that can of worms. Let's move swiftly on. So we kind of talked about it before we did the episode. We'll just have a look at the tournaments we've been to, what sort of progress we've made model and hobby wise, which is some, and see what the next year may bring. Well, I don't know, we might do a full New Year episode in the New Year.
I think first quarter's crying out for a
first quarter
a review of something that may or not be released in the quarter of New Year.
It's that dead zone before something is released where we can pack it full of speculation videos. Which, I mean, I could have sold out massively and just churned out nonsense speculation videos about the old world, which we'll get to, and probably ratcheted this channel up to 10,000 subscribers. But I refuse to do it because it's shit. Not that, just people doing that. Could this mean? What could this mean?
A high elf with the moral high ground. That's you.
See, we're just misunderstood. Anyway, my ranting will come at the end. So this is yes, yeah. Well, you can just skip to it or delete it, depending on whether you agree with me or not. So we've totaled up the tournaments that we've been to, or between us this year, and I think we came to. So there was Cardiff in March.
Yep.
Scotland won.
Yep.
Also March. Then the May GT from Triple Crown, which neither of us went to because it was the practice event. You could skip that. It's like a mock exam. Then there was the actual GT in June.
Yep.
Then there was Derby, which I think was also June.
July. I think.
July, yeah.
It's always when there's an outrageous heat wave so that we can die.
Although it was at least 3 degrees cooler this year.
It was actually surprisingly pleasant this year. Yeah. But yeah, July.
Then I think there was a doubles thing at some point.
Yes, a little local doubles event that Andy ran in South Shields area.
Yeah. Then there was a narrative that you didn't go to.
Correct. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend.
Unfortunately, you refused to drive.
It's not I refused to drive. I'm fairly sure I was on... I think I was in Wales on holiday with my family.
Yeah, you refused to drive from your holiday to Derby for 2 days and come back.
Yeah. There was then a second Cardiff event that neither of us were able to attend.
Yeah, that was... we didn't go to that. But there was also the second Scotland event, which we both went to, and the Bunker Brawl, which Tom refused to change the date for, so I could go to it.
I mean, incredibly selfish of Ruddy's event on a date and time that he pre-arranged that happened to not suit you. That's
just, when you think of Tom, that's immediately what you think of, selfish. He doesn't listen to this, he's not going to hear that. So I've had a really good, despite the fact that my performance in most of these was subpar, I had a really good year, tournament-wise.
Agreed. I think it's been whenever we've done reviews of different events, it's generally they've all I've not been to a single bad event. Like for a long time, actually, to be honest. But I think this year has been a genuinely good year of some really good, fun, entertaining events.
Because I was to the point where I now can't remember what lists I took to which ones. Even the ones that we just went to a couple of weeks ago, I couldn't remember what my list was for Scotland too.
Yeah, I'm struggling to remember what my list was for Scotland too as well. Actually, that's where we're at. It's just where we're at.
I can't actually remember what happened at Cardiff 1.
That was a long time ago.
That was 9 months ago.
Yeah. I mean, I can barely remember what I had for breakfast yesterday.
I can guarantee that I didn't win it.
Andy won Scotland 1, I think.
No, Cardiff 1.
Cardiff 1. Sorry. I've already lost track of what's going on.
This isn't going to be a reminiscent episode. It's going to be
James won Cardiff 1.
Everything. Yes, he did.
James won Cardiff 1 with his breaths.
Yeah, that's right.
Because with devastating charge, they're disgusting.
Yeah, and he did he won 5 games off the bounce, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. No, James won Cardiff 1. It was he had a storming event, to be honest. Really good event. Played it well. Yeah, so James took the win on Cardiff 1.
That's why
I did come away with best in race Tomb Kings, and there was other Tomb King players there though. Before you say it, there was multiple of us.
It's not the way that Beastmen and Chaos Dwarfs tend to win it by being the only people in the slot.
Yeah,
I took the because I'd taken I'd taken the Shadow Phoenix Guard list again with a slight change. Because I'd taken it the year before and it wasn't very good, but I seem to remember it being better in Cardiff, but I have no idea where I came.
Yeah, was that with your sisters?
Yeah, it was.
I like that sort of iteration of your high elves, to be honest. Yeah, I do like the sisters.
Sisters are really good.
That was a good start of the year, that Cardiff event, to be honest. It was good fun. There was a few little hiccups here and there with certain things. And I know sort of Andy had to step out on day 2 to sort of assist Chris, but like the whole thing was held in good form. It was a good fun weekend overall. The most hilarious part of it was they were in a bar and someone accused Stan, who's born and bred in the Newcastle area, of being Welsh. Oh, sorry, no, that was GT. My apologies. I'm all confused with events. I was just so desperate to get me story out about Stan being called Welsh that I got confused.
He does sound Welsh, doesn't
he? Yeah.
Or not. You probably take that very personally.
Yeah. He got really upset about the whole thing. It was good.
Well, from one constituent part of the United Kingdom to another, the next one was Scotland, which is the narrative Tabletop Toad did. That's the first time you'd beaten them before, but it's the first time I went up, and I thought it was great.
Really good event, isn't it? It ran in North Keswick, like right up there on the start of the Black Isle.
It's leisurely 6 hours to get there.
Leisurely 6 hours in the car. Really good event. Like the guys up there, it's a good, fun, interesting, and sort of different dynamic of a event. Tabletop Toad does a really good job running a themed event through missions and through scenery. Like he does a real standout job with that, and it's just a good, fun event. It's
definitely with it's missions rather than pure tournament points, and things that happen in one game will affect what you've got resource-wise in the next game with the skulls and collecting them.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that whole how it then moved into the second.
That was good.
Scotland as well.
Because that's like the sequel.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like I do always enjoy the trip up to the Scotland event. It's a shame that for one day it is such a travel.
I know.
Particularly the way home. Like that is after a full day of Warhammer and
well, I didn't have a problem. I thought it was
the 6 hour drive we did stop on multiple coffees on the way home. Oh no, we didn't from Scotland. One, that was the problem.
Scotland,
we went an alternative route, didn't we? And we nearly died.
We went on some sort of sea roads where I think fatigue and insanity was just about to break us at that point before we hit the border. Yeah, I remember that now. I don't know how you did it, because I was wrecked, and all I had to do was sit down. I didn't have to concentrate at all.
Well, that's why we then changed our route for Scotland too, didn't we?
Yeah, come a bit more direct.
Like really, I think at that point they were quite close together, and we had two genuinely good, fun back-to-back events. Yeah,
and it's a mix, because Cardiff's objective but competitive. This was more narrative, although there was still a league table. It wasn't like sides win, but it was more playing the story, playing the objectives. So it was like a bit of a mix of things rather than just, 7 or 8 purely hyper-competitive events.
Yeah, and there wasn't no 20. There wasn't a 20-0 or anything. It was purely about collecting skulls for the most part, wasn't it? Have I got that wrong? Either way, it was good. Like you say, good, fun, themed narrative event.
Yeah. And all the terrain and stuff, like all of the effort they put into writing the rules for the terrain, and just
it was really well put together.
And if you wanted to go all in, which you could, and you crafted your own skeleton pirates and zombie pirates and stuff, which you could summon by getting the skulls, it was just really well thought through. So for a first time that I'd been, he'd been before, but I was really impressed with that.
Yeah. No, I agreed. It's for anyone who's up there, it's definitely worth a visit, or anyone who's looking to get back into it and lives sort of up there in Scotland, certainly in the north end. Like, get in touch with Tabletop Toad, because he runs a really good event, and I know they've got a good sort of scene up there just for playing, sort of week in, week out as well.
And he should probably do a 2-day event.
He should definitely do a 2-day event.
Just if he's listening.
Yeah, just so I minimize the risk of me dying and taking out everybody else from my car.
Yeah, because if you wreck that car, we can't get to any events whatsoever. So
yeah, you have to use your own petrol like a chump.
Just Tabletop Toad, just save my petrol bill. 2-day event in future, please. What was after that then? The May GT.
Well, it was the May GT, which obviously we didn't go to because we didn't attend the warm-up event.
No, GT is in inverted commas here, because it's like a mock exam, like I was saying. But
I heard a rumor that some absolute filth machine.
Yeah,
won with some dark elves. Obviously, when you say filth, you think dark elves.
He just took the net list and added on the auto win Monstrous Arcanum Magma Dragon.
Magmas.
And then just put it on autopilot all the way through, and somehow...
He's a savage. He's a bad man. He's a bad man. He knows who we're talking about.
Yeah, he'll know.
Everybody knows who we're talking about. It's the worst Steve.
It's Steve 2.
Steve 2. All Steves are in concert, and they're all bad people.
It's just whether they're blatant about it or more subtle.
Yeah.
But
both very bad, for clarity.
Just like Steve 2 won it with that pile of filth, and I think the original Steve came third with some ludicrous positive. Yeah, stealth filth.
It was these wood elves.
Wood elves with 3 dragons, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, obviously we weren't there, but all the feedback was that the May GT was really good. Which is obviously not a surprise. Like, I've never been to a Triple Crown event and not come away thinking, what a great week, what a great weekend.
The biggest downside to us not going to that is we couldn't participate and win the quiz.
That was, again, warm-up quiz, though.
Yeah.
The real quiz happened in June because we were there. As repeat defending champions, because as we've discussed previously, nobody cares about who wins the games of Warhammer. It's about who wins the quiz of Warhammer. That's where the real nerds come to shine.
It's all about that. No one will remember the victories and losses in, apparently 3 weeks. According to our memory.
But everyone remembers the quiz.
Yeah. So that was the warm-up event, but because they had such overwhelming numbers, they put on the real event in the June. And that's the first time in the year that I took the Alariel White Lion Frosty list again.
Well, this list was my break from Tomb Kings. I think I'd done 5 or 6 events in a row with Tomb Kings. So to really spice things up, I went back to Vampire Count.
So you went.
I went from one shade of undeath to a different shade of undeath.
Right out your comfort zone into another undead.
Yeah, I went out from my current comfort zone to my previous comfort zone.
Did it take a lot to adjust to get back into that?
When you've got 2 Terrorgeists, it doesn't take a lot, and some Hexwraith, it doesn't take a lot of. Nah, to be honest, I do love me VC. So it was nice to play them again. To be honest, I looked through what I've done 7 events this year, 5 of them with Tomb Kings and 2 with vampires.
Well, you'll be shocked that all of my events were high elf exclusive.
Different shades, though.
Yeah,
slightly
different shades. That's the one where I played Matt at the last game on the GT at Triple Crown.
Yeah, that I saw the end of that game. That looked like a really good game, to be fair.
It's probably my standout game of the year, just for it was really good to play and just for the symbolic learning the lessons of the past. Having been completely butchered by this similar list, the first GT I went to somehow, just because
that was Matt retiring his demons as well, was it not? If memory serves.
Well, next time he was taking Dark Elves, so I'm not sure.
He's just a bad man as well, isn't he?
It's like out of the frying pan into the fire, that isn't it?
It's like the only people that Nurgle have almost got a questionable positive morale against.
Although he did take Sisters of Slaughter.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
So he's slightly more fluffy as a Dark Elf player.
Still really bad. I'm trying to think who bloody won the GT.
Wasn't it the Empire?
Oh, of course. It was Mr. Bibby.
Yeah. And good, because I like the Empire. Really good. And I like to see him doing well.
Really cool. So these the pair of them out there turning unsuspecting people into frogs.
With alarming regularity.
With alarming regularity, yeah. No, you're right. The Empire was really did a really good job with that. It was a nice, solid Empire list.
See, because they're always the Empire, like the jacks of all trades that can do most things reasonably well. But I think they're really good.
I like Empire. Yeah, and I think they really did well with them in the June GT.
You don't see them enough.
You don't see them as much these days as you used to be fair.
I wonder if it's because the last year was the big monstrous arcana meta. So I wonder if it was rotating it anyway, because the Empire's got some good counters to big monsters. I wonder if that's something to do with it.
Yeah, feasibly. But no, hats off to me. Did won it nicely, and it was another great event. Probably as you alluded to, more importantly, the quiz happened again.
Another quiz win, yeah.
Yep.
However, the seeds I set with my hubris on the high elf questions came back to bite me slightly later in the year, but whatever.
Oh, did they? Yeah. Oh, was this the narrative that I was unable to attend?
Unfortunately, you weren't able to see that, so
I wasn't there to witness your downfall.
Not quite, just a bit of hubris anyway.
I see. I see. But yeah, I mean, we said it before, but every event the TC guys put on are always well attended, well run, and always played in good spirits. It was a good weekend.
And to be able to put on an entirely new full event within a month and nothing go wrong, I mean, that's pretty impressive organizationally wise.
Yeah, and it means we didn't have to spend any time chatting about why or who was at fault for why we didn't get tickets for the May event.
Well, I can't. If you want to go into that story, or
no, not really. No.
I remember when not you, somebody. Let's call
someone. Agent X.
I actually thought, I can't go to the GT. What am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do for that weekend? that was a major issue. Like, I couldn't find anything else to do.
Yeah, but we don't need to dwell on that because it was okay. We went in June. It was okay.
That's fine. Yeah, it's almost like you knew there was going to be a second one, and therefore
exactly.
Yeah. Marvelous, if slightly unbelievable. What was next?
Next, I believe it was Derby.
Oh
yeah, I
think
after the GT, yeah, we moved from through the summer from June into July, and we had the Derby deathmatch. So standard Derby rules within +2, -2.
And this time I'd read or was aware that you don't add the plus or minus to your scores. So
yes. Oh my God, I'm also completely wrong.
Oh,
I did take Tomb Kings to June GT. It was Derby I took VC2.
That's right.
I've just got absolutely barely any idea what's going on, obviously, as this proves.
We really should have done more research before we recorded this.
Despite the fact I've got it written down in front of us, I simply refused to look at me notes. Proper planning, preparation, etc., etc.
Yeah, just wing it. It's fine.
It's what your good listeners come to expect.
Exactly. You don't need professionalism out of here. That's what
other YouTube channels are available.
Yeah. I actually blanked on any other people who talk about this non-stop. Anyway, Derby. So you took the vampires to this one.
Yes, a flying Ghoul King.
Why not?
Sorry, a Ghoul King with flying horror. He wasn't on a Terrorgeist. He was obviously standard accompanied by his level 2 Death Mage, obviously, because he who spirit leeches first, spirit leeches best.
Was this the one where you were just like, even though everybody knows it can do it, surprise everyone by zooming the guy, charging him out of the unit into a suitable victim?
Yeah, it was good. It worked a few times, to be fair. I love long bomb charging out of me zombie horde.
Nobody expects it, even if you told them.
Yeah, he's not going to charge out a single character. That's his general. Then his army crumbles without.
Wrong.
Au contraire. You, my good man, are giving me far too much credit that I won't do that. I will. But Derby was a blast.
That's where, after the high of triumphing over Matt Stevens at June, he then beat me in the first game with his Dark Elves at Derby. So, never mind.
And I lost in Derby to the eventual winner with Wood Elves.
Oh, that was the Incarnate of Life, Alariel bubble regen list, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a tough nut to crack, that's for sure.
I mean, I'm glad I never
really
had
good games.
it.
To be honest, I had a weekend of genuinely. I think probably, if I had to think back of the whole year overall, I think Derby was probably my favourite event, just because I had five really, really good games throughout the whole weekend. Even though Liam dodged us and we should have played, but he managed to somehow avoid it.
I just remember it constantly, because Derby's boards and swords is like, it's got a mezzanine level. So there's the ground floor and then there's the top half bit where all the good players go. And I just remember constantly going up and down the stairs as I'd get destroyed and then recover and then get destroyed again. So I got a lot of steps in. But that's one of the ones, Derby, where I remember significantly where I was playing the Dwarfs and winning comprehensively until I didn't, and then lost comprehensively. That was the biggest turnaround I think I've ever seen in a game.
To be honest, I had a huge turnaround as well. I was playing Tom with his Empire list, and I was really, really winning until I really, really wasn't winning. Which was the other loss of the weekend.
It's an interesting feeling, isn't it? Like, hang on.
Yeah, it was going.
Literally 1 minute ago, I was in command of everything here.
Yeah, it went from the sublime to the ridiculous.
Yeah. I think it was on the Phoenix Guard did like 2 wounds. Like, it's 40 Phoenix Guard here. They need to do more than 2 wounds. Oh, they're broken.
It was. I mean, I blame my loss to Tom on Liam, to be honest, because
dodging you.
Yeah, because we should have played, but he somehow managed to avoid us, and he knows that we would have had a good time, and he should have just stood back and let us spirit leech him. Like a friend should do.
Yeah, it's a generous thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
My other big memory from Derby is playing Jim, and just the way he really wanted to, I think, jump off the mezzanine level via his dice rolling. It was appalling.
Oh, I remember hearing about that game. Bless him. Jesus. To be fair, I think to summarise Jim's year of events, you could pretty much summarise it with horrific dice rolls.
I told him to go and buy new dice.
Every time I've seen him play, or I've played him, his dice have been awful. Like, really, truly awful.
I told him, go and get new dice. You're gonna need them because they've betrayed you. Yeah. It's clearly not going your way.
Don't let them take the mick out of you. No, that's what they're doing.
You need to bin them off.
But Derby, I was like really shocked and over the moon of I got voted best sportsman, which was lovely. And more importantly, I used that money to buy new paintbrushes, which then aided me in my hobbying for the rest of the year, which we'll come on to later.
It's the investment that you need to make in it.
Exactly. Brushes, who knew?
Well, mine are all wrecked, but I suppose we'll get on to that. Derby not as hot this year as well.
No.
And we didn't go out to Pop World till 3 a.m.
No, I attended this Derby without being sick once.
into a drain.
Yeah, that was not my finest moment, to be fair.
That was all right.
I can only assume I was spiked.
Yeah, it must have been.
It must have been that.
Could have been drinking. It was
obviously that.
Could have been drinking Reef till 3 a.m. or whatever it was. We were drinking
Jesus! There was some horrible. Yes, but this time we were much more controlled.
Yes.
I believe on the Saturday night we just relatively had a quiet one, did we not?
We went to the all-you-can-eat buffet where we saw a marriage.
Oh my Gideon! How did I forget that was in Derby?
We saw a marriage proposal in an all-you-can-eat buffet.
That was comfortably the weirdest thing I think I've seen at a Warhammer event, and that's an event hosted, attended by wargamers. Let's be honest, and I've still seen something weirder at a restaurant.
It was utterly
savage.
Bizarre. We're walking past with plates of all-you-can-eat buffet while someone is proposing to their.
Would have been hilarious if they'd said no. Like that really
would have changed the.
I think she's going to think back on that night and think, why did I say yes?
It might have been a favourite place in
when
the
that
world.
marriage ends horribly. She's going to think back to when you proposed and thought, really, I should have known from the offset.
That's where the rot set in. I went
to Cosmo to get me probably.
Yeah, it was either the Maldives or Cosmo or you can eat buffet.
Probably the same.
Yeah, it's just like being abroad.
But yeah, Derby was brill, and the nighttime entertainment of the marriage was hilarious.
It's not quite as good as the quiz, but I appreciate them trying to live up to that.
Yeah. And then we thought the next event was the doubles event in South Shields.
Possibly.
We think it was that one. It was either that one or Scotland 2, and we're not sure which one came first.
Yeah, we kind of get the timeline right. But this is where I think that's the one me and John, who's been on this channel a couple of times, he came up from London or wherever it is. He lives south of the River Wear. And we did somewhere, I don't know. It's all
there.
It all blurs into one if you go south of Teesside.
I'm not 100% sure south of Teesside and the south quite married together. I think you've at least got Yorkshire and arguably the Midlands before you get to deepest, darkest south.
You're just biased for Yorkshire, so.
What's God's country?
Apparently so. What was it? Oh yeah, that's where he brought his wood elves and cheated. Which I didn't.
Oh, did he?
Well, to be fair, he didn't know, and I didn't know. But war dancers don't get their free up ward for everything. It's just in combat. I don't know if it came in much in the actual doubles, but in the game we recorded for the YouTube channel, I didn't pick up on it because I didn't know. So
it's just abusing your lack of knowledge of his list.
Yeah,
cheating you.
If it's not high elves, I don't know it. So
so that does sound quite Southern-esque. Stretching the rules, you know what those?
Blagged. Is that what they say down
Yeah.
But that was a lot of fun because we played you and Stan on the first game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where that was another one where
I had a little VC list and Stan had Dark Elves.
Dark Elf nonsense, massive light cavalry. Yeah. Oh. But that was speaking of
crazy.
Speaking of
1250 lists are just wild.
Yeah. And especially with like the Dark Elves where they've got no Cortex at all. So oh no, we've got to take really strong core units. Yeah.
But I think Stan's whole list was mounted except for Executioners.
Yes, it was. I'm sure he had Doomfire Warlocks.
Yeah, well, they're mounted. Of course he had Doomfire Warlocks. Dark Elf list. Go on, Mark.
Yeah.
Pull your head out your ass.
But that's another one of the ones where I like in turn 1 or 2, I thought we're dead because you're just picking everything off, and then it's like scene missing. Like, oh, we won.
Did we draw?
No,
did you guys?
We won. It was like a 11-9,
12-8, or
12-8. It was something
because we didn't have anything that could deal with your Phoenix God block.
Well, yeah,
they were just unkillable.
You had total magical dominance because I think you'd killed the spell singer, or whatever it is, the Wood Elves call the mages, in like turn 2. But then you just couldn't cast anything for some reason.
Nothing.
It's like, actually, there is a way out of this.
Yeah, it was horrific, wasn't it? It's good fun though. Like honestly, 1250 doubles, like is hilarious.
I'm like,
I want these power dice. I want these power dice.
That's why I had to, like, we divided it that I would do combat and he would do magic and shooting because I can't share power dice, and I think I had the.
To be fair, other than the fact that I had to take a wizard because
otherwise
it's VC,
kind of an army.
I let Stan do all our casting as well.
I think I had a guy with Kane's Fury Ring, and even then, like, give me the dice, give the dice to me. I need them.
Control freak.
That's the thing with me playing doubles. Like, I don't like not being in complete command.
Supreme Commander Mark.
Yeah, well, it's only natural. Like the high elves would take charge in a high elf wood elf situation
over their strange hippie cousins.
Yeah, they'd have to give them direction, so it's only natural. But no, that was good because John hasn't done. I don't think he's done many tournaments recently for fantasy and stuff. I know he's in a 40k, so he just was interested. He was up on the weekend, so
yeah, it's nice one to just get people. And to be fair, I think a few people have restarted playing through Andy doing these
the little things,
like small double events, because
like
there's a lot less pressure.
Yeah,
they're a lot less inherently competitive. They're just.
I know it sounds daft saying it's intimidating, but it can be if you just
it can feel that way for sure.
And there's 30 or 40 people who all reasonably know what they're doing, and you're back new to it. So those little events are not like just forgettable.
I think they're invaluable for keeping people or getting people into the hobby. To be honest,
yeah, it's a bit much better. Well, it's a good gateway if people want to ease their way into it. So I would definitely recommend them if you fancy going to one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's either after that, the narrative, or Scotland 2. I think it was narrative, then Scotland 2.
Yeah, maybe. And again, I couldn't attend the narrative. Was this my holiday?
Yeah, it was.
Yes,
because it was Arabia Blaze was the narrative.
Yes, family holiday, couldn't attend. I was in Wales.
Outrageous. The only time to be in Wales is for.
I can only apologise.
The only time to be in Wales is for Cardiff Crusade. That and only that.
It was North Wales though, so it wasn't quite as savage as Cardiff.
Anglesey Crusade.
Yes.
Well, the narrative where you didn't go to it, but I had a really good time at the narrative because I got well into the narrative theme. Because the last narrative I'd taken, I planned on taking one of the special characters, but I couldn't make him in time, or I was just too lazy. So I just took a generic non-character list. But this was full Calidor dragons.
That's right. Of course, it was your dragon list, wasn't it?
It was a great dragon, a mage on a dragon, and I had a really good time following the plot, except the time that I Purple Sunder Chaos Dwarf Army off the board, and that didn't feel very good.
Oh, you bad man! I would never do something like that.
You know what? I rolled the dice, think, oh, Purple Sun. Then I thought, I'm in a narrative event. I've rolled it now.
Mark, you've done a narrative list. It's not your fault you had death with magic.
Here's my justification.
It's not your fault you rolled Purple Sun. It's not your fault you decided to 6 dice.
Well, it kind of is, because I took the magic item that gives you 5 spells, so I'm pretty much almost guaranteed I'd be taking Purple Sun. But insert excuse here as to why none of that's my fault.
Well, to be fair, just because it's a narrative event doesn't mean it's not there to be won. Okay, I'll give you that out.
Thank you. The voice of reason there.
I mean, I would never have done that because I'm a nice guy, but you're a
monster. It's when I rolled the distance and I think it was 8, so it just went the entire line.
Oh.
I mean, I'm laughing. It wasn't funny at the time.
To be fair, I've had that happen to me when I was using my Lizard Men list, and after Purple Sun went across with Lizard Men, there was not a lot left of the Lizard Men, and I was like, "Oh,
that's an issue, isn't it?"
Well,
but there was another quiz there, and I got.
Oh, is this your hubris?
Yeah. So the question I'd memorized all the capitals of all the kingdoms of Ulthuan and stuff like that, and all these technical questions. Because every time I do a quiz, I say to Scott, "Can I have some actually difficult high elf questions next time?"
Sure.
And the one for the eighthable, sorry, actually do it narrative. Was name all of Tyrion and Teclis's magical items and special rules, and I just completely lost my mind. Like when you just blank completely, and it was totally ridiculous. And Charlie's looking at us, they're like the face of like, "Are you for fucking real? Like you're supposed to know this."
One job, Mark, and it's no high elf stuff.
One job, yeah. And I think I only got like 4 of them. I know.
I don't want to say any of us are angry with you, but it's safe to say we're all very disappointed.
I mean, we still won, but it was a personal affront that I couldn't remember it in the critical time. But the really funny thing about that was when the wood elf questions come round, which Charlie loves these wood elves, he got a question and then he couldn't answer it, and I just turned around and like was looking at him with like the same expression.
I know, but
so it wasn't fucking funny 10 minutes ago when you were laughing at me.
Regarding high elf knowledge is probably incomparable to Charlie's love of playing wood elves.
Yeah, well, whatever. I was very disappointed. I was disappointed in myself. Like even the special rule, I couldn't remember the special rule. It's Defenders of Ulthuan, you know what I mean? Like it's not like top level stuff, but still make the quiz harder.
Drenched up bad memories for you, that didn't it?
It has. It's locked away. I think other people got it, and that's what really annoyed me. Like somebody got it.
Sorry, you did not know a high elf question. You were the least knowledgeable high elf person there.
But then I don't use Tyrion and Teclis, so I shouldn't.
Not as dirty as the Ever Queen for you, are they?
No, you probably name all her equipment and rules and all that.
If not, you've used them more than you've probably used any other character in the game.
That is not true. I've probably used Archmage on high the most of any other character in the game.
Any named character than in the game?
Right, fine, yeah. I've used Caradrian once, I think. Well, once in a tournament.
I actually quite like Caradrian.
He's good, but he is only 2 wounds. But you do get Ashtari, who's well worth it.
Aye. Oh, look, how can we make a broken Phoenix even better?
Give an extra attack.
Yeah.
That'll do.
That was the narrative. That's always good.
Our side lost.
I was sorry to miss the narrative. It's because you didn't have me there.
What side would you have been on?
Tomb Kings were on good guy side.
Oh yes, you would have been. So it's your fault.
Oh, I see. Yep. I see how we work out of that.
You're going to be shit for not remembering Tyrion and Teclis's magic items. I'm going to lash out.
I like it.
Well, we think by that process of elimination that it should
must have been Scotland 2.
Must have been. Which I again really enjoyed.
Yeah. And this time we had a slight detour on the way up because it was during the horrific storms that were battering the eastern coast.
Yeah, I was getting
most of the UK, but we went across and up the west coast and had a really pleasant journey, didn't we?
I was getting messages from people going, "Oh, you all right? Are you trapped in the storms? The roads are shut on the east coast of Scotland. Like, there's literally nothing happening. On the west, it's it's perfectly clear and it's really nice. And we got to see Loch Ness and a few
we got to go a bit of sightseeing, taking a little bit of walking. It was lovely.
Yeah, marvelous stuff.
It was the drive home from Scotland too that we stopped for a lot of coffees.
Yeah.
When I decided that I am struggling with Scotland as a one-day event.
I still thought it was. Well, I wasn't driving. I still thought it went quite quick.
It did. It went well. It went quickly. It was just.
It's a slog.
It was a slog. The 6-hour drive home was a slog.
But the event itself, I went back to High Magic because every time I take another law, I keep thinking, I wish I had High Magic. So it was the same kind of thing. It was the Phoenix Guard, and I put a 21-man unit of White Lions there for some strength.
Yeah, that's what we test. That worked really well for you, that little shock troop of White Lions, didn't it?
Because it's just for something that sometimes the Phoenix Guard can't deal with high toughness stuff. So you keep the White Lions back behind, and they're not worth that much points at 21 unit. But if you apply them to high toughness, high armor stuff, they can go through them. So it did quite well.
21's enough as well, though. I think it's a really nice size for an elite unit, to be honest.
21, yeah, especially high elves because they all get to attack. Still 3 ranks.
Oh,
3 ranks of 7.
Yeah, well, I took Tomb Kings.
Yeah. There were some really nice armies there, though, like the double toad dragon.
Oh, yeah, Chris's list, which from a comp point was incredibly filthy. However, double toad dragon was amazing. Amazing.
I think I voted for that for best army, just because it's...
I voted for best army because it had 2 toad dragons.
Yeah, in concept and execution, it was unbeatable.
2 toad dragons. Who else has got 2 toad dragons? Nobody.
That's
who else.
As in physically owns 2 toad dragons as well as...
They are huge as well, aren't they?
Yeah,
they are absolutely massive.
Big things, like... But there's always some good... I think that the first one went to, there was the big mammoth. The big mammoth thing.
Yeah, that was Chris as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The mammoth. And then... I feel bad because I forgot his name, but he was at the first Scotland and back at the second one, who he brought Elspeth on our Carmine Dragon and an official land ship.
Yes, and I played them both times. Really nice guy.
Yeah, I feel bad for forgetting his name, but really, it does bring some nice modelling and some funky army builds and whatnot to Scotland. It was good.
Bring a massive... Was it a Demon Prince?
Oh, the Exalted. There's both the Exalted Keeper of Secrets there for like 750 points. There's also, I think, an Exalted Bloodthirster there for 700 points.
I think that's the one I remember. Yeah. It's but they're really impressive.
It was really cool. I mean, 750 points. Hilarious. They're also not characters technically, so they can't be the army general.
I think it was James who had the Elspeth and
yeah, I think you're right. And the land ship.
The land ship, yeah.
Yeah, no.
He was the only one who beat me on Scotland 2, so you know.
Well, Scotland 2, I came second, and just got pipped on by 2 points, I think, at the end.
I came 4th, which is my highest highest score in this year's events.
I forgot to mention on Scotland 1, did you not get best painted as well?
I did get. I was going to wait for me hobby there because I realised I skipped over it. But yeah, so I got best painted for my High Elves on Scotland 1, which was very nice.
The army is very nice, to be fair.
You always
get the High Elves.
You always get imposters. Well, I get imposter syndrome where I'm looking at a model and thinking, "Is this any good?" So it's nice when people say, "Actually,
yeah." I wouldn't know because I can't paint very well. But no, I think to be fair, I think your army's really nice. I really like your Zenith army that you've been. I'm sure you'll come to talk on shortly as well.
Well, they're certainly a lot better to look at than to play.
I did warn you. So yeah, Scotland 2. That was a really good event again. Made it home without dying, and
it's always a winner, isn't it?
It's always a win. And the last really long journey I've been on for an event, then the last one was Bunker Brawl.
Yeah, which, as we said, Tom refused to move, so I could go to.
Yeah, honestly, what a guy!
What you playing at? I mean,
really good event. First event that they've ran, went really well. Taking a couple of learnings about sort of, I think, clarity of comp, but like the day itself was a really good day held in Knaresborough, North Yorkshire. Again, everyone played it with good spirits. Again, once again took Tomb Kings, but different this time. I took Arcan.
Oh, the disloyal Tomb King character.
Yeah, well, no.
Whoa, you agree with now?
Whoa. Loyal to the true Lord of Kenry. The guy. Okay. Yeah, so it was the first time I'd used Arcan. And that was pretty cool. I mean, the level 5 Death Mage who can store 3 dispel dice to pull back into the power pot.
Yeah, he's like a Nagash, isn't he?
I played James, funny enough, and like I think the least power dice I ever had in a phase was 10. So, like, between having Arcan, the casket,
yes, you have the casket, yeah, right. So you got the full...
beaten, like, to be fair, it was a bit filth, to be honest.
He doesn't wear armor though, does he?
Nah, I didn't have armor reward. That's for chumps.
You don't need that.
Yeah, having a saves for
armor.
Having a saves for losers. Oh yeah, I mean he's an absolute glass cannon. Like, to be fair, but he was really fun to use. Actually, it was fun to use. Good event.
I was just really disappointed to miss it because I would have I think, like we're saying, the other tournaments, supporting them when they're getting started. I think it's important to do.
No, I totally agree. And like I said, Tom ran a really solid event with Johnny there to help. And as and when he runs another event, I will absolutely be attending. It was good fun.
If he's listening, check with me first, and I'll definitely come. Get the date approved by me, and then you can run your next tournament. Because I want to go.
Now, if he doesn't do that, it's obviously just to spite you.
Well, yeah, I understand next time if it's still on the day I can't go, that he's
choosing. He's essentially choosing to exclude you.
Yeah, it's a personal issue then, isn't it?
Yeah.
I might even take Special K, but equally don't hold me to that.
Yeah. So that was that's essentially been the end of our tour around the UK on
the brief
events this year.
You totaled up how many miles we actually drove.
Approximately this year, we've driven somewhere between 1,700 and 1,800 miles to attend Warhammer events and drive home.
Now, according to my map thing,
you can essentially drive to Rome.
Yeah, you can drive to Rome, or you could drive to Hungary, or you could drive to the where is it? The Poland-Ukrainian border, or you could drive to the Poland, Belarus, and Ukrainian border if you wanted.
So yeah, roughly. Let's go in the middle. Roughly 1,750 mile driven this year to attend and return from Warhammer events.
Games of toy soldiers.
Solid go on that, isn't it?
That's all right.
Solid go on that.
Well, to drive to Rome is 1,790 miles.
Oh, I think we could do it. I think our Warhammer eventing and returning thereof could have got us to Rome.
If we'd gone at the May GT, we would have done we'd probably done the.
If we'd gone to either the May GT or if I'd have made it to the narrative,
that would have,
or Cardiff, any of them would have tipped us over 2,000 miles this year on Warhammer.
Where would 2,000 miles get us to? Let's have a look.
South of Rome.
Russia. It would get you to.
Just a nice little sojourn across to Russia.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the Moscow TC GT.
Yeah, I've heard there's a rumor that they're not hosting GTs currently because of political instability.
We're not taking sides on this or getting involved in anything like that.
No.
Well, that was the tournaments. So that's the competitive side of it. But not neglected, but we don't really talk too much about the hobby side.
No, we don't, to be fair, do we?
But I've done quite a bit this year.
You've done a lot this year.
I don't know what's changed, because when I started this, when I started getting back into 8th, painting was painful to me, and I forced myself to do it. And then it became all right. But this year, I've actually quite enjoyed it. Like, I would paint as something to do rather than, you have to put something on and watch it and then paint, sort of trick yourself into painting. So,
yeah.
So I've done, I've got them up here then. So I've done Kairos. This is my big thing for the year, is I've finally got the demons done.
Special K
right there. And he was actually, not that he was easy, but he was quite straightforward.
You actually quite fun doing him as well, didn't you?
Yeah, it was quite, because even all the detail, like that's contrast, his wings. It's just like a glaze. So that the fade into the deeper red is just glazing watered down contrast over him. And then all the layered detail, I mean, that looks like a nightmare, but it wasn't somehow. And if you are interested, I think it's War Hipster on YouTube. I looked at his guide for how to paint a Lord of Change and just adapted it to Kairos. And it's I'm really pleased with the result.
It's really good. Obviously, I've not seen it in flesh, but I've seen your last battle report. And it's a very nice looking army.
Yeah, it does look nice, doesn't it?
It does look nice.
No. Well, there's some of his mates. There's the Pink Horrors, which I did earlier. Yeah.
I think what you've done with the basin's really nice on that army.
Well,
to be honest, I think it really finishes it off nicely.
I was wondering how to base it, and I thought it should probably be like the Chaos Wastes, and like a bit, Pink's weird because if you do something like, it kind of fades into lighter colored bases, like not gravel, sand or something like that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to look a bit weird. So all the tufts are like weird colors, and it's dry brushed over in blue rather than gray. So
no, I know it's like fairly simple, if that makes sense, but it's really effective, and I think it really makes the army pop.
And there's the full lot of them. The Soul Grinders, even they were quite, because a lot of these models, the big ones, have just sat on my shelf because I've thought, I don't know how to paint them, I don't know how to tackle them. And when I finally sat down and got the blue Soul Grinder out and just thought, we'll do the flesh, contrast that, and then just pick the lines out so it looks a bit like Tron. And I thought, actually, this works quite well, and it didn't take.
Your Soul Grinders look really good, to be honest.
Yeah.
I know you put a bit of extra detail on their base as well, but I think they really, when watching that last battle report you did, I think they really pop, and I think collectively, that picture there shows it. I think it's you did a really nice job with the whole army.
It's just a shame they're not very good.
I mean, I've got a full Zenith army. Mine looks less good than that.
Why didn't you warn me?
I did warn you. I told you they were terrible.
Why didn't you warn me more?
What you need to do is just take a Lord of Change, give them the Wand of Whimsy, and pray that you roll lots of 5s, then you can go on an absolute killing machine in combat.
Well, I do have an unbuilt Lord of Change, so I might.
I mean, you're very much it's a real hit on this army, because if your magic goes really well, amazing. But if it doesn't, then you're screwed, because it's literally all you've got.
Yeah, these do nothing in combat. And
unless you take Mind Razor on Special K.
What, is he still hitting on 5s? With his 1 attack?
No, not on him.
Oh,
Can
right.
You not cast it on another? You cast it on one of the pink horror units.
I thought you meant put Mind Razor on Special K. He's 1 strength 9 attack hitting on a 5. Brilliant.
Nails though, nails. If that one hits,
it's you're killing 1 spearman.
Dude. Yeah.
But I've really enjoyed painting these, which if you'd asked me to when I bought them, I just think it would just
you wouldn't have believed it, would you?
Nah. And I found some pictures of when I bought them and built them, and they're all grey plastic. And like, do I really want to paint this? But they've actually been a real joy to paint.
Nice. You've done yourself proud with them. To be honest, I think it's a really nice looking army.
It was like, I'm not
even if it is terrible.
Just have to dazzle people with the loud colours. And I did some dragons, so that's an AOS Drake thing. I think that's
it looks good.
I think that's the technical term.
This for your narrative army, because I've not seen this. Sadly, we're just missing the narrative.
Yeah, this was for the narrative, so that was just a normal dragon. Because you cannot really, because I used the Carmine as the as the great dragon, and again,
well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
lovely model.
I mean, it's resin, so it's soaked up the paint, the contrast. So you have to keep putting it on and touching it up. So it's a bit more annoying to paint, and the base is a bit weird because he's built for.
It's a weird base, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a weird base size, but it in the updated base size thing, Carmine should go on the chariot base. So he was still good to paint, and I've seen pictures of how I started with him, and like it's the contrasts again. They just make everything so much easier. Contrast the red.
Well, as an absolute non-painter, I've actually got to the stage where I can, on occasion, enjoy painting. I mean, it's not good. I'm not good, but like the having contrast has massively helped someone of my level be able to produce at least a tabletop ready army.
It's actually amazing how good it is, to the point where I can't go back to. Sometimes I'll use like the normal layer paint and stuff, but for the most part, contrast just does half the work for you.
Yeah,
and that's an Archmage on Star Dragon that I also finished for the narrative, and that's mostly contrast. Just do the contrast.
I've seen him. He's nice. To be fair, like I say, none of your stuff's bad marked. To be honest, like all your paintings are like stand out. You should be proud of what you're pumping out there these days.
It's just nice to see, just to get slightly better at stuff. It's and there's another one in the Carmine.
That's a nice model, isn't it?
Yeah, somebody gave me that.
Honestly, what the hell? If anyone else is out there with a Carmine, especially if they've got an Elspeth on the back of it, like don't give it a mark. Mail order at my way. Reach out. I'll give you the address.
But if somebody wants to give me Tamakan, I will accept it. It's the only thing I'm missing.
Reluctantly accept it, yeah.
Yeah, obviously. And this is the last thing I've painted. This Lawmaster, who's been
there. He is.
He's been sat unpainted on my shelf since about 2019.
Staring at you
again. When you're looking at models, I think, I'm never going to get around to painting him. And then I just thought, I want to use a Lawmaster, but I'm not using an unpainted model. And he took, I think, 3 nights worth of like 2 hours a night or something, and he was done. And how have I just waited 3 years to paint this thing?
It never take as long as you think they're going to do that. I think painting is, like, I can speak as a reluctant painter and hobbyist myself. You put them off, and you put it off because you're worried. Like, I put painting off armies off because I'm worried that they're not going to be very good. But the reality is, one, it's not as much of a chew on as you think it's going to be. It doesn't take as long. And even a very basically painted army is better than a grey plastic army.
Yeah.
And it feels really good using an army that you painted yourself, even if it is only tabletop standard. So anyone out there who listens or watches this who kind of wants to get back into it but is worried that they're not going to do a very good job, like, take it from me, honestly, don't worry about it. Like, just do it, because
there's certain
it's going to be better than you think it is.
There's certain phases in painting that like almost give you what's it called? Not morphine, endorphin. I don't know.
Yeah.
But when you paint the metal, when you've done the cloth and that, and you paint the metal over it, like this is starting to look done. It's like, oh, that kind of inspires you to keep going and get it finished. And for me, like the phases are when the contrasts all go on and the base colors are done, like that's good. And then when it's the metals go on, like right well now about a third of the way through, then all the details are done and the base. Then you do the base and the model's finished. Like it kind of self reinforces. Wanting to keep doing it. That's just it's felt for me this year. So I mean,
you can see how your paintings come on across the last couple of years.
Well, if you compare that to, I mean, I don't want to start repainting stuff, but the White Lions are probably the first goodish stuff that I did, and they're 3-4 years old now. So if you put them next to him, I think I'd probably paint them a bit better now, but I'm not going to.
No. It's something nice that you can just look back on with the hobby and think, actually, that's developed really nicely.
But you've been no slouch yourself, have you? So
no, I've been more active this year from a hobbying point of view than I have been for a long time. To be honest, I've taken on Operation Rescue some Tomb Kings.
Well, they weren't doing anything for me. Sat in a box.
So obviously this poor guy who I've really enjoyed painting the Necrosphinx. It's a shame that's absolutely rubbish now that I've used one of them. However, I really enjoyed painting it. Obviously, it was like semi-clagged with like really weird, almost wallpaper paint, wasn't it?
It was bizarre. I'd put it in before I gave them to you. I'd put them through BioStrip about 2-3 times, and the paint was still clagged on.
So I was really pleased. So I've obviously got him done. I've got not pictures there, but I got the 2 Screaming Skulls done. Some couple of characters painted. Really enjoyed, giving them a bit of TLC. And actually, really enjoyed painting the Necrosphinx. Enjoyed doing and then there he is.
There he is.
Little Nagash, otherwise known as Arkan the Black. I've had him sitting. This is a bit like your Lore Master. I've had him sitting there, unpainted, not even primed, for ages. And just because he's a character that I really like and a model I really like, I was just really put off to paint him, thinking I would just do a really a poor job with it.
Yeah.
And is it a masterpiece? No, it's not. But actually, personally, it's one of the best models I've painted myself. So I'm quite pleased with it.
Well, yeah,
and I can see when I compare it to the models I painted earlier last year when I got the Tomb Kings first painted for the narrative. It's much, much better now. The colour scheme's the same. He still nicely fits in with the army. He still looks the same. He just looks better. So it was like I really and again actually enjoyed painting them. I wasn't like, oh god, I need to go paint Arkan. I was like, oh, I'm off to go do my next session on Arkan, and I think like yourself, got done in a few nights.
Yeah, he looks good, and it's
looked good when he was throwing purple suns at people.
It's just all that gradual improvement, isn't it? And just if you see you're doing better, then it inspires you to go and do more stuff.
Yeah, contrast happened a godsend.
Oh yeah. What we did before them.
Honestly, well, I didn't paint very well, or very much. I just drafted my wife in, bless her.
So I would never paint a horse before contrast.
Doesn't play the game at all. Never has played the game. Has painted more models than I have until me Tomb Kings.
It's just been forced to paint all that.
And then the other thing I did this year was sort out all of my orcs and goblins.
It's a full war, that, isn't it?
Well, it's around about 10,000 points of Orcs and Goblins. Until this year, I've never even used them. I've just gathered them over the years in various different ways and means. So, yeah, this year I at least got them out, put them onto movement trays, ranked them up. I actually did have a couple of games with them. Did we play? No,
I don't think I've
played Andy. I think I played Andy a couple of times, but yeah, I had a few games with them, and to be honest, I'm hoping something's different with them in the old world because it's not a competitive thing. But I was saying to someone, for me, every army I really like to use has got something in it that I love. Like when it comes to vampires, I really love using Terrorgeists. I love the aesthetic of Ghoul Kings. And that will always have VC will always have a special place in my heart for that.
Yeah.
When it comes to Tomb Kings, I love I love the aesthetics. I love Nagash, the lore of them. But I really love War Sphinxes. Love them. Never make a list without them. I think they're great. Love the casket. It's the Ark of the Covenant. I couldn't find anything yet in the Orc and Goblin list that I love, and that made us want to play them. With me Chaos Dwarfs, I really like Iron Demons. Again, won't write a list without them if I can help it. But I'm struggling to find that so far with Orcs and Goblins. They remind us a little bit of me Empire, because I've struggled. Well, I've not used my Empire for a few years either, because I've struggled to find that one thing that really stands out and makes you want to play the army.
Yeah.
But they're at least sorted out, and I will revisit them with the old world.
Well,
that's a lot of rebasing that might need done, though, isn't it?
You've got a strong advantage. If I've got my 800-point starter box, well, I've got 10,000 points of Orcs, so we'll just
just sitting there looking at us every day. I just keep getting me Tomb Kings out. oh, Baldy! there's a lot of Orcs over here.
There's a war coming over the hill now, so yeah.
It does have my heaviest unit in. I've got a block of 50 metal Black Orcs.
Ooh,
they are heavy. They're shocking.
You kill someone with them.
I could literally kill somebody. Oh yeah, absolutely, it's a weapon. But no, it was nice to get them sorted out though, because I knew I gathered a lot of Orcs and Goblins, but didn't really know what I had, the detail of it, to be honest. It was nice to get it all sorted out, and having them out on display has encouraged us to start thinking about using them more.
Well, I've had that because I've now got a dedicated sort of walk-in wardrobe almost, which all the models are in. So rather than having to hunt things out to think, I need to paint that or I need to sort it out, it's all on the shelf.
Just there.
It's almost guilted into doing something about it. So that's another way to encourage you to do something. They definitely need painting. Easy access.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I think this year I've pushed on with getting my gaming room permanently set up. So that's certainly encouraged to do this as well, following the house move late last year. Finally getting that done, pushing the model room to get paying to get furniture, get me permanent table in there. That's all good to go now. And that certainly encourages with the whole modeling and sort of displaying aspect of it as well.
Well, the last bit we were going to talk about is what might happen next year. Excuse me.
I know you're dubious, but I'm really excited about the old world.
I'm just bitter.
Yeah. But Hiles at least still have main faction, so nothing to be bitter about.
Have they got OS Strikes First? Are they exactly the same as they are in 8th edition?
One would suggest not. But I think looking at all the things that the GW have released, all the different almanacs and the teasers, I'm excited about it. I loved playing 6th edition when 6th edition was the main event. I loved playing the older editions, 4th and 5th, when they were the main game. I appreciate we have a really competitive scene, but loved playing it. Loved 6th. I didn't really play 7th, to be fair, but I've certainly very much loved playing 8th. Lots of 8th are my favourite editions I've ever played. Minus steadfast.
I like steadfast. I think the dividing line will be is whether you like 6 or not. And I didn't. I mean, I liked it at the time, but when I'm looking through the almanacs and stuff, and like this looks a lot like it seems to be cavalry is going to be extremely powerful.
I think looking at it, it might be that you'll see cavalry will be very powerful on the charge, which they should be. Like they're heavy cav. It's like in a semi fantastical world, like they should be good based on how dominating they were in reality. But there will be counters to it, I'm certain. Like I'm sure there'll be good, usable, solid counters to just heavy cav. Looking at what they've released, like I know a lot of people are dubious about the magic phase. Well, obviously it doesn't exist anymore. It's going to
what magic phase?
It's going to be in amongst it. But I mean, you might find fast forward a year of playing it that actually that makes it more integrated to the actual game and more involved rather than a mini game, which is kind of what it is now. Which don't get me wrong, I love that about 8th, but I also quite often play no magic. So part of us is thinking, will the change make non-magic more viable? Because one of the things with 8th, you kind of have to have a level 4 just to counter your opponent's level 4.
This is why, like, I take everything I'm saying with like. So I'm not being like, oh, it's shit. Why you want to play that? It's obviously gonna be shit. I'm not saying that at all.
I know that.
If people are excited about it, great, because it's a fantasy game at the end of it, and I'm sure it'll do really well. It's just for when I'm looking through this stuff, like it's not 8th. 8th is my game.
You do love 8th, don't you?
Yeah, and I've never in it. I may be completely wrong, and well, not wrong because I'm not saying that it's going to be terrible. I will give it a go, and I'm not going to prejudge it too much before the entire rules set come out, because it may be completely different to what I'm looking at it black and white on the page. Might be completely different to what it's actually like in the game. But
I think that's very fair. To be honest,
but it's not good. Well, it would have to be phenomenal, obviously, for me personally to like it more than 8th.
Yeah, well, like the reality is, this is what do you think might happen next year? And like I kind of see one of two things happening with your world. One, I see a lot of people coming back to the hobby, which I think is to be celebrated regardless. I think we might find the scene, like the fantasy scene, that's fractured a lot since the end times. # didn't happen.
Give us that at least. The end times.
You've got obviously like our scene, which is the 8th edition scene, but you've got a relatively active, although smaller, 6th edition scene. You've got obviously the 9th age. You've got people who play WAP.
People play WAP?
Well, you know my feelings on that. I've said it before. Either play it, but don't ever mix it with Warhammer, because it's not the same game. It's nonsense. And you've got people who obviously disappeared and played Kings of War. So you've got a lot. Like the scene really fractured when GW stopped actively supporting a Warhammer game. So I think the fact that there's going to be a fully supported Warhammer game, even though it's going to be through the specialist games team, is going to be really positive to the entire gaming community, is my hope. Like, call me Mr. Glass Half Full, but my hope is that it really brings a lot of the community back together. And after that, one of two things will happen, in my opinion. Either Old World will be good enough, at least, that it is the played form of the game, and with the wider community coming back together, it'll be a success, and eventually we'll just stop playing any other edition other than Old World. Or if you want to be glass half empty, it will get a big influx of people and no one will be happy with it and it'll drift off. But I really don't see that happening because
Wargamers not being happy. That's unheard of.
I know. Well, the thing is, I think what Games Workshop will probably hope for is that no one community within the community's happy. If that makes sense. Hopefully everyone's a little bit unhappy, but excited enough by it that they give the rules a good chance.
I can see what happens is the people flip the old world, including the 6th edition weird people, and then the 8th edition diehards become what the 6th edition people are now. So eventually it'll be everybody except me and Charlie playing the old world, and it'll be me and Charlie playing the old world going, this is real Warhammer for the end of eternity.
Yeah, look, we don't know what's going to happen, but I think the fact that it's a fully supported game from GW, I'm excited about it. I'm positive about it. I really hope that it does bring the community together. I'll be playing it regardless, and then frankly, I'll play it whether it's as long as it's going to be I'll play whatever Warhammer version is the most played, so I can attend events and play people and have a good time.
Well,
I think it's going to be this. I really do.
There's already going to be an event, isn't there? Because Triple Crown they aren't doing any more 8th. They're doing Old World next year. Derby's now brought forward, and that's going to be Old World. And then the GT is going to be Old World.
London guys who, obviously, they've got one planned. That's 8th, but I very much assume they will transition also to Old World.
I think Cardiff are thinking of, or they will be going to Old World. They're doing another. I don't know whether London and Cardiff are kind of running two types for a bit in like a transition.
I'm sure with that as well, there'll also be opportunities to have, and people will start running other events. Like, haven't finalised it yet, but we are looking to host a GT in Newcastle in the forthcoming year.
Oh, that's
details to be confirmed.
Yes, I did know about that actually. Yeah, not.
But we have done a lot of the legwork's being done, and we are looking to get that finalised with information out there to the wider community as soon as we can.
It's going to be,
but that should be exciting.
It's going to be held in the heart of Newcastle football. The stadium, I like that.
I mean, not either of those things. But no, it's that type of thing that I really think the fact that we're injecting a new system that's fully supported into the community can only be a positive thing.
Unless they get rid of Steadfast.
If they don't get rid of Steadfast, I'm going to go absolutely mental.
See, I'll go, if they do get rid of it, I'll go mental.
No, but that's the point. Like, naturally, between all the different editions and different rules, people will want things in it and want things out of it. I think like the important thing for me is to just play it.
Yeah, I'm not getting myself too wound up in that. You can't really. There's some of the basic rules are out there, but until I actually see it played, I'll make a decision then.
Yeah.
As to whether I like it or not.
Look, it might be a bit of you might have a look at it and want to try it, and then maybe you'll leave at least to begin with, you might leave your like High Elves, for example, out completely as they are, and say like, that's going to be my 8th edition army, and use the old world as an excuse to maybe do a different army.
If I was to do
rather than rebase anything or anything like that,
I wouldn't do the High Elves. I don't think. I'd probably do something like the Empire.
Yeah.
Just for something new.
Yeah, no, exactly that. Well, my current intention is, because I've not used my Empire in several years, I'm going to rebase those very shortly onto bigger bases, and probably use them as my first old world army. I don't I don't think I'll rebase me undead because, frankly, the very thought of sorry, me PC that is, but the very thought of rebasing
300 zombies,
500 zombies or so makes us like break out in a cold sweat and potentially want to kill myself.
Well, I wouldn't.
So
I wouldn't do the.
If nobody else plays it, I'll still play 8th with you with me vampires because they are never getting rebased.
Yeah, that the future's bright either way.
But yeah, exactly. But no, like that. I think hopefully it's an excuse to do something new. Like I'll do Empire first. I think because I was going to obviously naturally do my Tomb Kings. Because they've announced Tomb Kings are going to be one of the first boxes, I'll obviously buy it. Obviously. But I don't want to be one of a million people who are suddenly back and suddenly playing Tomb Kings.
You'll have to keep saying, I've never given them up. You know, just to be clear, I didn't just buy this army. Yes. I already had this army.
I'll have to be one of those people. But I will probably use it as an excuse to do a new army, truth be told.
Well, I wouldn't do it
as things get released, that is.
I wouldn't do them because it's or immediately anyway, because it's kind of like if you've split up with someone and you got with somebody else and you keep going, oh, she did it better. She did that. She cooked it in a different way.
Yeah,
I
think you're right.
Comparing the high elves
to look at a new. I think you're right to look at the new system. Do it with a new army.
Yeah, and then at least you're not constantly
because then you're not comparing like to like all the time. That's totally fair. Because my other thought was obviously to rebase some of my Orcs and Goblins and do an Orc and Goblin army to start with. I'm quite excited about obviously looking at the armies that are going to be fully supported in the main armies. Tempting to go back to do another Wood Elf army.
Oh yeah, they're in it, aren't they? They're one of the main.
They're one of the main factions.
I hope they're going to be all tree. That's the future.
Sorry?
All tree army. That's the future for
all tree all the time. Or possibly even dwarf.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Have you got dwarfs?
Not in an official GW army of them.
Right. That's the other thing, of course, that if it's getting supported, where does that leave people with a lot of third-party miniatures?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd like to say you'll be able to play them in non-official GW events.
I would have thought so.
But I think the one thing that I'm quite excited about will be hopefully this means we will go back to having the odd fully official GW events held at Warhammer World.
I can only imagine because they run all the other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And like, who doesn't love a trip to Warhammer World? More miles to add to our collection of how many miles we travel for Warhammer events.
Yeah, and you can go to Bugman's as well.
And you can drink Bugman's, yeah.
Play Alkahammer.
Alkahammer.
So that way,
I think we should be looking at the old world as a real positive thing. Like, regardless of the rule system, it's definitely going to make all the community more active in whatever way it's going to do in the long term. But I'm certainly going into it with a positive mindset, and we'll go from there.
Well, you heard it here first. Scott Sport shares in the old world.
I felt the same when. I mean, it's going to come back. Many things have come back to bite us in the arse for many years, but like, it can only be a positive thing that it's going to be the game that we love is coming back live in a supported way, even if it's not in quite the way that we currently love it.
Well, we shall see. That's my outlook. Well, I can't say one way or the other. I do agree with what you're saying about it's going to bring more people in. If it's a supported live game, not just a niche game that was killed off 10 years ago.
Well, we'll see. Like, hopefully, like we'll go at it and think positive things, and you've got more chance of a positive thing happening.
That's the spirit.
But I think every time I roll for me screams and me Terrorgeist.
Well, if they're even in the old world.
Well, indeed. Well, there will be at least originally, as of they've released that statement saying like every army will get a fully usable PDF.
It'll just be Scream does D2 wounds.
I imagine it will be different. I imagine lots of things will be different. Everything stays the same, but everything changes.
It's got everything. Everything comes around. Everything comes to square. There's a joke there somewhere.
Yep.
Well, anyway, well, that's been a roller coaster ride through the last 12 months and projecting into the future. Any hobby resolutions for the new year? Even though it's mid-December at the minute.
I'm not gonna lie. I do have a Chaos Warrior army that I'd like to put together and get painted up. I've currently got Galrock looking at us on my desk.
Painting dragons. That's so last year. Painting dragons.
Maybe's get the Chaos Warrior army usable. That would be a resolution.
Yeah, metal. It's not too hard. Armor.
Yeah, and to be fair, it is going to be very warrior centric.
Good. Marauder Cavalry. That's a cheat.
We had part of us kind of wants to almost remake me old 6th edition Zenith warrior list.
I would definitely pick him. I mean, I'm biased, but I would spray them chrome. Like Chrome Warriors army, but that's just an idea.
Metal and then just wash over them.
Yeah, just like with blue, like glaze.
Yeah, that was, truth be told, that was give or take my intention, to be honest.
Yes.
Something quite simple that should hopefully be quite effective.
Seems quite zinchy.
Yeah.
Well, mine's the Chaos Dwarfs, which that's the project for next year.
Nice.
Which was going to be this year, but I really can't get anything more done this month.
No, I haven't. Personally, nothing's happening this month other than working towards Christmas, having a nice new year, and then we will start afresh in January with modelling and hobbying and all that sort of jazz.
And many, many, many more episodes of this podcast.
Yes. As Splitfire Gaming takes the old world by storm in the new year.
Ramp them subscribers up. Well, thanks for coming on. We will, I don't know, I've got 2 more battles at least to edit and put up. So
exciting.
That'll probably take us out of the new year. But thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us again. It was so long.
Yeah.
The last one.
And I'll see you on the next one.
Yep.
Probably.
Thanks, Mark.
Bye.
Bye-bye.